Just 60 seconds to gather yourself after being knocked down in the last round. Wow! One punch power has ended this fight. Can you believe that? There is no way he could continue on. To gather yourself after being knocked down in the last round. Wow!
Kia ora team! Welcome back to Big Boys Boxing. Excuse the little stuff up with the intro. Forgot to mute something else and it happens, you know. So, over the weekend we've got a really good fight happening. A step-up fight for Jared Anderson. And he'll be facing Kingsley Ibeh. Now this one's kind of flew under the radar a little bit. This is a good little fight. Jared Anderson. It's a step-up fight. And I say it's a step-up fight because Anderson hasn't really fought anybody of any kind of note as yet. He's 7-0. But this Kingsley Ibeh guy, most people don't know who he is. You might have seen him fight a couple of times in this top rank bubble. He beat Patrick Mailata, the Commonwealth bronze medalist at super heavyweight from New Zealand, by way of Samoa. Now Kingsley Ibeh is 5-1-1. The guy who did beat him was on a majority decision. What was his name? I always forget his name. Is that him? Yeah, there it is. Split decision loss over 4 rounds. Names Waldo Cortez Acosta. And he, yeah, like I said, they beat him just. But then they had a rematch. And Ibeh TKO'd him in the 4th round out of 6. So he avenged his only loss. His draw, that is on his record, was against Guido Vianello in his last fight. Some of y'all might remember he cut Guido really badly. Over one of his eyes. I can't remember which eye it was. I think it was his left eye. And it got called a draw. 2 of the judges had it a draw, and what's her name? Bird had it 58-55 or something. Nah, I'm not gonna bother. Adelaide Bird had it in Ibeh's favour big time. Now, personally, I thought Ibeh won that fight 4 rounds to 2. I didn't think Guido did enough. Now, Ibeh has done a lot of learning on the job. He only first stepped into a gym in 2019, apparently, to try and sell the gym owner some insurance, life insurance. He ended up fighting. So he's a real athlete. I'll give him that. He looks really ragged around the edges, especially when he fought Guido Vianello. He was pretty much gassing out. But the dude is an athlete. You can see how he moves. He's got pretty good feet. Now, he's not listed as orthodox or southpaw on BoxRec, and there's a reason why, because I don't think even he knows. He switch hits that often. Seems to be fighting out a southpaw stance a lot more than anything else. But I'll get him up on screen so y'all can have a bit of a look at him. Hold on here. Here we go. So this is Kingsley Ibeh. Or Ibay, however you pronounce it. He's only 27, he's like getting close to a prime sort of age for heavyweight. He's 6'4" and has an 80-inch reach, so he's not huge, he's not small. He's got a decent reach for 6'4", and we must remember that Jared Anderson here is also only 6'4", and he has a 78-inch reach. 6'4", 78.5-inch reach. So he's going to have a reach disadvantage here. Now, don't get me wrong. Jared Anderson's definitely the favourite here. He's got much better technique. He's got a lot more experience with the amateur background and whatnot. Ibay has got no amateur background whatsoever. But he has been learning on the job, and he was not supposed to beat Patrick Mailata. He was not supposed to be that competitive with Guido Vianello. So we may be surprised here. Now, by the looks of it, he's got a pretty good chin. And he's got a pretty good KO ratio. Go back. Kingsley Ibeh, look. He's knocked out everyone he's beaten, if I'm not right. KO. Oh no, split decision. No, that was a loss. Yeah. KO. TKO. TKO. A majority decision win. Who was that over? Oh, Patrick Mailata, that's right. Patrick Mailata does have a very, very good chin. He's got that Samoan chin. So, yeah. Ibay was getting very tired in that fight as well towards the end of it, 6 rounds. His fitness, hopefully he's been working on it, and he can be a little bit more competitive if the fight goes long. This fight is also only a 6-rounder, so we'll see what happens here. It's going to be interesting. This guy, it's not going to be easy for Jared Anderson, I don't think. And he's a bit ragged around the edges, his punches are a bit wide, but he hits pretty hard, man. He hits pretty hard. So he's knocked out 4 of his 5 opponents, from his wins. It's only Patrick Mailata that he hasn't knocked out. So I think this is going to be quite interesting, man. I really, really do. So just give me a sec here. I'll just sort something out and get back to the scene. Then I'll get back to the chat and think about getting a link up for people to join. Check here. Turn off the intro so I don't mess that up again. There we go. Back to where we should be. Alright, so I'll get over the chat and see what's going on over there. We got nobody in. Okay. Well, that's fine. Well, the card that fight is on. Get to that. The card itself is a very good card. Very, very good card by Top Rank. Schedule again, sorry team. Go. So this is the card that it's on. The ad out of the way. And then yes. Get off. So this fight at the top here, I think this is my fight for the weekend, and it's not a heavyweight fight, but Joe Smith Jr. versus Maxim Vlasov is a very good fight. Maxim Vlasov is coming down from cruiserweight down to 168 to face Joe Smith Jr. Vlasov. So look, he's 34 years old. He's getting longer in the tooth for a weight division fighter. And oh, it says he's light heavyweight. Yeah, that's right. He's coming down from light heavyweight. No, that's not right. No, it is right. He's coming down from light heavyweight to cruise. I thought he was a cruiserweight though. Smith Jr. is a light heavyweight though. Vacant WBO light heavyweight title. Yeah, Vlasov he's fought at cruiserweight and had been fighting at cruiserweight. I'm sure of it. Have a look, open up this last fight of his. Light heavyweight contest. I thought he was fighting at cruiser and is coming down. Sure, he's fought at cruiser, but anyways, he's getting longer in the tooth. He hasn't been that active from memory. Fought in 2019 twice, 3 times. Man, well, he didn't fight in 2020. Full stop. So he's been out of the ring for a while. He is much bigger than Joe Smith when it comes to height. 6'3", 76-inch reach. Maxim Vlasov. Joe Smith Jr. He's made some good improvements. I like his jab lately. He's 6 foot, no registered reach. I think he's got like a 72 or 71 inch reach. Just off the top of my head. But this card is good in itself, man. Look at this. We've got Adam Lopez and Jason Sanchez. That's not a bad little fight as well. That's at featherweight. We've got lightweight. We've got Richard Comey. Last defeated by Teofimo Lopez. Fighting Jackson Marinez. That's a bloody good fight too. We've got the heavyweight dust up we've already talked about. Lloyd Diaz. There's other ones. I mean, there's some competitive fights on this card as well, but the top 4 fights on the card are really good fights. We also have this other card happening this weekend. I think it's this one. Is it this one? No, it's not that one. I thought it was that one. Showtime card. California, no registered media. Yeah, Joseph Diaz fighting this Rakimov. That's a bloody good fight too. But the rest of the card, oh yeah, Patrick Teixeira, who's also fighting Brian Castaño on that. I believe that's a it must be a title fight because Teixeira has belts, doesn't he? Yeah, WBO super welterweight title. So that one's another world title fight as well. Uses French. Tommy Rios. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad a card. There's a couple of good fights on that one, but this card here is definitely the fight of the weekend for the card of the weekend to watch for me. But that's just my opinion, man. But definitely keep an eye out for that Anderson versus Ibay card. I think it's going to be quite interesting. We're going to get an idea of how good Anderson is to a degree. At this stage we haven't seen him fight pretty much anybody, so tough to get a gauge on the kid. He's got youth on the side, but Ibay's gonna give him a bit of a run for his money, I think. Steve Kelly, all the best from the UK. Man, all the best to you guys in the UK. You guys are all having a rough time with the Rona. We're pretty good down here. We've got a couple of cases coming in now and then. We had a couple of cases in the community, but that came from quarantine the other week, so not too bad. But yeah, but I'll get over and find a link, jump in the chat if anybody wants to jump in. We can talk a little bit about whatever to do with boxing. I know there's plenty of people want to talk about with Mark Breland coming out and telling people what he thought was going on in camp with Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's responded. It's been talked about plenty already. Of course, we've also got the issues with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury still going on. We've still got Daniel Dubois possibly fighting Alexander Usyk in April. It looks like they're trying to make that fight, so we'll see what happens, man. But I'm just grabbing a link from Discord. I'll drop it in the chat in 1 sec. If anybody wants to jump on, have a yarn. I see Devin Haney's calling Teofimo a liar. His lies are catching up with him. I see the news. There's a lot of he said crap going on. There's a Discord link if anybody wants to join. I'll pin that to the top. Boom. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. There's plenty going on. Have a look at what else is in the news at the moment. Kevin Cunningham, Josh. Here it is. Devin Haney. Get this. Oh, nah, you don't need to see it actually. Alright, check this out, team. This is what Devin Haney has to say about Teofimo Lopez.
Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez is a liar. His lies don't add up. WBC lightweight champion Devin Haney has indicated that Teofimo Lopez must face him in order to establish who the real king is at 135 pounds. In a recent interview, Lopez expressed his desire to face Haney before the end of the year. The next assignment for Lopez, who holds the Ibay WBC franchise, BO titles, is a likely mandatory title defense against George Kambosos, which is currently heading to a purse bid. Haney does not believe Lopez is serious about his intentions to come together for a fight. This guy is a liar. Watch his interviews. He says one thing in one interview, then says a different thing in a different interview. One day he's going to send me and his mandatory challenger, George Kambosos Jr. a contract to see who signs it first. One day he's going to save my career. One day this, one day that. His lies don't add up, Haney told Sky Sports. There are several lucrative options for Haney at lightweight, with undefeated stars like Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis. Garcia holds the WBC's interim title at the weight, while Davis is the regular champion. But Haney's preferred opponent is Lopez, who last year shocked the sport when he secured an upset unanimous decision over Vasily Lomachenko. Because I want all of the belts. We need to know who the real king is at 135 pounds is. Who is the real undisputed champion? The only way to settle that is for us to fight. I see Teofimo as the #1 threat than Tank Davis. I feel like Tank is really a 130-pound fighter. He had trouble with Yuriorkis Gamboa moving up in weight. He is a lot smaller than the other guys at 135 pounds, Haney said. Tags, Devin Haney
So, seems like Devin Haney's the one trying to get that fight made. Teofimo, don't really know what he wants to do. I know this fight with Kambosos is going to purse, but that's not because of promoters not agreeing on things. It's because Bob Arum and Teofimo Lopez can't come to an agreement on how much Teo's going to get paid. Teo wants more money. He's beaten Richard Comer. He's beaten Teofimo Lopez. He is technically a 2-belt champion, right? Because he doesn't hold the WBC title. He holds this bullshit regular title. Not regular, sorry. Franchise title, which isn't supposed to be transferable. A franchise titleist cannot lose that title in the ring. By the way, it's not a title, it's a designation. So he only holds the WBA and the IBF belts. Devin Haney's got the WBO. And Devin Haney has the WBC. He has the real WBC belt. And who's got the other one? Was it Patrick Teixeira? Got the wrong weight division. I get confused with all these little fellas. This is why I like the heavyweights. But I did see another story, which I'm going to get to. Eddie Hearn talks about the Kambosos purse bid putting pressure on Top Rank. But from what I've heard, Bob Arum is like, well, I can't pay Teofimo what he wants, so it's going to go to purse bid, and he's going to get paid his percentage flat fee. I'm sure Bob's still going to put in a bid in the purse bid, but it's just going to be what he's already offered Teo to get paid in that fight against Kambosos, right? Kambosos is the man, I think it's IBF mandatory. He's got to fight him. If he doesn't, he's going to give up that belt, and then his potential earnings in the future go down because he drops a belt. But Teo is stuck with top rank. I think he's got at least 3 years left on his contract. He ain't going nowhere, so he better start being realistic about what he's gonna get paid. We're in a pandemic at the moment, and in a lot of places we're not allowed crowds, so you can't get that gate revenue. Kambosos versus Teofimo Lopez is not a pay-per-view fight, and for Bob to be able to pay Teo what he wants, you have to put it on pay-per-view. But it's a catch-22. You put it on pay-per-view, you're not going to cover your costs. So Teo's not going to get as much money if it doesn't succeed in pay-per-view, which it will not, because it's not a pay-per-view fight. So Teo's got to get a bit more realistic about what he's doing, I think, and come to terms that he's not a huge draw at this stage. Yes, he's got a couple of really good wins under his belt, and yes, he holds a couple of world titles, but this ain't the glamour heavyweight division. Unless he's going to be in the ring against a Tank Davis or a Devin Haney, he needs that dance partner to be able to put a fight on pay-per-view to get the demand to make the money that he wants. So that is about how I see it. In other news, I think it was yesterday, Dillian White may have to change the location of his camp. He's currently training in Portugal. That has been added to the list of high-risk COVID countries. Therefore, if he's going to come from Portugal to the UK, he has to be there by the 14th of February to be able to isolate and get into the bubble, or move his camp to a place that's not such high risk, or on the high risk list for the UK, being somewhere like Spain. And then even when he did come a few days earlier, he would have to isolate inside the Matchroom bubble, but away from everyone else who's in the bubble. So for me, I think the best idea for Dillian White is to just go move his camp to the UK in case Spain gets put on that high risk list, and that's going to screw everything up. If he's, if it's after the 14th of February, Spain gets put on that high risk list, he's not going to be allowed into the bubble. So yeah, I think he should just go back to the UK, and by then, he's going to be tapering off with his training anyway, so it's not going to be disrupting him training too much, because most of the training's already going to be done, isn't it? So that's what I think Dillian should do, is just go back to the UK, finish his camp off there. Just let me do a sound check here. Much it's already going to be done, isn't it? So the background music not working. Turn up just a wee bit. Could be working. Let me try that again. There it is. All right. The card bites pay-per-view. Yeah, the fight definitely isn't a top draw, eh? Kambosos versus Teofimo, I imagine you're still talking about. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. It's worth being an undercard fight on a pay-per-view card, definitely. That's the sort of thing that might work. But still, I think Teofimo's being a bit he seems to think he's worth more than he actually is at this stage. I mean, a lot of boxers are doing that at the moment. Nobody seems to be taking into consideration that there's minimal crowds, if any, in a lot of places. There's no crowd gate. It's really hard to make a fight against a highly competitive opponent because both guys want to get paid well. and in the current climate, it's just not doable. So everybody's got to take a bit of a pay cut to get into decent fights. Otherwise, we're going to keep seeing a lot of what we've seen over the last 12 months is really mismatched fights, and it kind of turns fans off from boxing to a degree. Why watch a fight when you know who's going to win? When you pretty much know 100% who's going to win, why do you want to sit there and watch a fight? I mean, that's why I like this Maxim Vlasov and Joe Smith Jr. fight. It's a pick'em. It's a great fight. Not so much the Anderson versus Ibay card, but there's certainly a possibility that Kingsley Ibeh could cause some real damage. Possibly even beat Jared Anderson. He's got pretty heavy hands. He's got a good chin. The biggest question is his stamina. But Jared Anderson just better watch himself in those first 3 rounds. Kingsley Ibeh's beaten one person that he's not supposed to beat and drew with another that he wasn't supposed to beat so far. I guess it's a little bit different with guys who have got under 10 fights as well. Guys like Jared Anderson who haven't really fought anybody who's put up too much resistance. It's good for us to get a gauge, and when we get somebody like Kingsley Ibeh who can beat guys he's not supposed to beat, we can get a bit better gauge of these guys. So even if Jared Anderson is still quite a heavy favourite, I still want to watch it. But fights like, trying to think of one off the top of my head, like I was going to say Alan Babic and Tom Little, but that kind of had a little bit of intrigue because we didn't really know how much Babic has. Say if Deontay Wilder was to fight Kingsley Ibeh, we know who's going to win that, right? Or why would you watch that sort of fight? I can't think of one off the top of my head that we've seen recently. Yeah, so I guess I'll talk a little bit about the Mark Breland's statements that he came out with. Most people would have seen them. He was talking about how Deontay Wilder doesn't run, he doesn't do heavy bag work, he doesn't work a speed bag, doesn't jump rope, doesn't have a jab. I mean, Mark Breland even says he could beat Deontay Wilder, or he could beat the opponents Deontay Wilder's beaten. This sort of thing. There's a bit of sour in there, but you can't blame the man for being a bit sour when he'd been absolutely loyal to Deontay for 12 years. He's been Deontay's assistant coach, and then Deontay, because he loses, comes out and says, I wouldn't put it past Mark Breland to spike my water while he was still under his employment. Now he's not bound by confidentiality under contract. Then he's come out and told somewhat of the truth. And like I said, with him saying he could beat most of the opponents that Deontay has fought, I think that's just a bit of a FU for trying to drag my name through the mud. And fair enough too. I'd be goddamn sour if the guy I'd been loyal to for 12 years come out and said that sort of crap when I was still under his employment. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Oh, big up Steve Cully. Thank you very much for that super chat. Appreciate it, brother. Cheers, bro. Time for my beard in the UK. Catch you soon. Alright, man. Take it easy. Appreciate you dropping in, brother. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much the Mark Breland thing. Deontay's come out and said, you know, I can't believe he said this sort of thing after I put food on his table for so many years, and maybe he's jealous. Dude, you come out and accuse this guy who's been loyal to you for that many years of spiking your water because your snotty daddy threw the towel in when you had blood coming out of your ear, like it looked like your eardrum was burst, or you could have a brain injury. You had blood pissing out your mouth. You're getting the crap beaten out of you, and he threw the towel in. I mean, Mark Breland said himself he's got a son around Deontay Wilder's age that he wouldn't want to see go out on a shield like that. Deontay will live to fight another day. And fair enough too. I mean, also like what Mark Breland said, power comes from the legs, right? You got to be able to plant your feet to throw your big power shot. And we all know that's Deontay's get out of jail free card, is his big power shot, right? If he's got no legs, which he admitted himself after 2 rounds his legs were gone, he's not going to get out of jail with a big power shot because you've got no power coming from your legs. If you've got no power, you got no get out of jail free card, and you're getting the living crap beaten out of you, it's time to give up and come back and fight another day. So I wish Mark Breland all the best. I'm actually surprised he stuck around for so long with Deontay, particularly since he wasn't able to train him like he knows a boxer should train, with a lot more road work, a lot more skipping. Well, some road work, some skipping, heavy bag, speed work, speed bag. Those things have got to be done for a boxer, and if he refuses to do it, he's not taking boxing seriously. Deontay said several times that he doesn't even like boxing, he's just doing it for money for his daughter. But at the same time, I mean, I really don't understand why Mark Breland was staying with Deontay that long. I spoke about this a bit yesterday on Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio's stream yesterday. Maybe at his age he was getting maybe around 200 grand for each fight with Deontay. If he's making a couple of million a fight, it's a crazy living, right? Maybe he was happy, maybe he didn't have to work so hard because a lot of the training Deontay refused to do in camp. You know, kick back, take it easy, get paid. You refuse to listen to an experienced boxer's advice. So, sweet, I'll take your money and watch you fail. And he did. Unfortunately, he got part of the blame without any proof. And actually, that brings me to another part with Deontay Wilder. He keeps saying he's got proof of this, he's got proof of that when it comes to Tyson Fury's gloves or whatever was in the gloves. He reckons he's got proof. He's talking about proof of this and that, but refuses to show it to anybody. I seriously wish he would just shut up about it. If you're not going to show anybody proof, it's not proof. It's hearsay. It's an opinion. That's all it is. So give it up. Learn to live with a loss. Learn from it. Bounce back stronger. And stop being a sore loser. I'm sick of hearing about it. So that's pretty much all I want to say about that sort of thing. Now, Joyce let slip a little bit about a week ago. It sounds like they're trying to make the Alexander Usyk fight for the WBO interim title for some time in April. Now, that is an interesting fight as well, if it happens. We all know Alexander Usyk played with Joyce back in the World Series of Boxing. He beat him convincingly, beating him on the scorecards in every single round. But it was only a 5-round fight in the World Series of Boxing. This would be a 12-round fight. And this is where the interesting part happens. Joyce has a gas tank. We saw Alexander Usyk slow considerably in the later rounds when he fought Derek Chisora. Is this going to be a major factor? Quite possibly. However, I think there is a big difference to consider there. That Derek Chisora was attacking the body big time. Big time. Joyce doesn't do that. And if Joyce does that, he's going to get tagged up top a hell of a lot. But if Joyce can land a couple of good body shots early on Usyk, he may be a bit wary about trying to cover up downstairs rather than counter upstairs. And it could be a kryptonite for Usyk at heavyweight. Derek Chisora kind of gave a blueprint. But Derek Chisora is extremely aggressive. Even a lot more aggressive than Joyce. We've seen Joyce try to get when he did try to get aggressive against Usyk in the World Series of Boxing. That was not a good plan. Is his jab quick enough to be able to do to Usyk what he did to Daniel Dubois? I'm not so sure. But I guess you got to look at the evasive skills of Usyk compared to Dubois. There's a huge difference there. It's like night and day. Daniel Dubois hardly moves his head, so he's easy to jab his head off. Usyk moves his head very well. He's very evasive, slips, punches, and counters. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think Joyce could possibly win this fight, but only late on. And I think only by stoppage. I think Usyk is going to pile up too many points in the first 7-8 rounds to be able to for Joyce to be able to come back on points. The only way he can beat Usyk, I think, is by stopping him late. Usyk, I think, could possibly even get a referee stoppage late on, depending on how much damage he can do to Joyce earlier on in the fight. But if it's going to happen, that fight's a long way away. Now, if it does happen, apparently it's going to be for the interim title, and Joshua and Fury will possibly get to fight for undisputed, but then the WBO belt will be vacated straight after, because Joshua and Fury, whoever wins, they will have a rematch clause. So this is something that's been talked about for so long already, and it's going to keep getting talked about. But I just wanted to touch on it. I don't like to talk about it over and over and over and over, because I get sick of talking about a fight that's coming, a fight that's coming, a fight that's coming, a la Pacquiao, Mayweather, a la Crawford, Spence Jr., a la Devin, Haney, Teofimo, Lopez. It's sick of talking about these same fights. Maybe they'll happen, maybe they'll happen, maybe they'll happen. What's gonna happen is gonna happen, is gonna happen. Sorry, I'm over it. Also, we have... I thought it was going to be this weekend, but it's not. It's going to be the weekend of the 20th. Next weekend. Dominic Breazeale and Otto Wallin. Will be fighting on I think it's the Adrian Broner card. I'm just bringing it up so I can find out for y'all. Is the event. Well. The event itself, February 20th. It's got Wallin Breazeale as the main event at this stage. Oh no, it's got Adrian Broner underneath. Adrian Broner versus Jermaine Santiago. Giovanni. Sorry. I don't even know this guy. Santiago. 14-0-1. So there's not much else actually confirmed for that card just yet. Wallin Breazeale and Broner v Santiago. Hold down in case there's fighting. No, there's nothing. That's all that is confirmed for that card at this point. I did see a story on Boxing Scene. I'm just finding from Otto Wallin. Here it is. Once I see an opportunity, I'm ready to take it and take Breazeale out. Man, unless Breazeale's chin is absolutely shattered from getting stopped by Deontay, I don't think Wallin's got the power to knock out Breazeale. And I'm thinking maybe Breazeale's even got enough of those mule punches to be able to take Wallin out later on in the fight. So we'll see what happens, but I'll have a quick listen to what Wallin has to say in this article. Check it out.
Wallin, once I see the opportunity, I'll be ready to take Breazeale out. Heavyweight contender Otto Wallin is gearing up for a showdown with dangerous puncher Dominic Breazeale, which takes place on February 20th as part of a Showtime televised card from the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Wallin has been looking to bounce back from a 12-round decision loss to current WBC world champion Tyson Fury, which took place in September of 2019. For his part, Breazeale has only suffered 2 defeats in his career, at the hands of world-level fighters Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. By pulling off an impressive victory, Wallin would send a big statement to the entire division. There is not much for Wallin to take from Breazeale's last fight in 2019, since he was knocked out cold in 1 round. And a few years earlier, Joshua broke down and ultimately stopped Breazeale in 7 rounds. Breazeale is a good name and a game guy, and hopefully by beating him I'll solidify my spot at the top, Wallin told Sky Sports. I've got to be sharp at all times and break him down, and once I see the opportunity I'll be ready to take him out. He hung in there with Joshua and showed a lot of heart and grit, but ultimately he was outclassed. With Wilder it was such a short fight, so there's not too much to take from it, but Breazeale hurt Wilder before he got knocked out himself. His style is to throw heavy shots, and I believe he is going to come out and try to put pressure on and be aggressive with me. Luckily I'm a smart guy with good skills and a smart team with a good game plan, so there's going to be plenty of opportunities for me to capitalize on. Tags, Otto Wallin, Dominic Breazeale.
So it puts a good case for a few points there, does Wallin. But if we look at Dominic Breazeale, give me a sec here. I'll bring up his box rec. Put it on screen. We'll have a look into this, right? Because I think there's some points to think about here. Here we go. Dominic Breazeale. So he's 6'7". He's a couple of inches taller than Breazeale. He's got a 81.5 inch reach. I can't remember what Wallin's reach is. But if Dominic Breazeale beats Otto Wallin, just for argument's sake, Otto Wallin will be his best opponent. And thinking about it, Otto Wallin, who's his best win? Right? Who's Otto Wallin's best win? Adrian Granat is Otto Wallin's best win. And at that point, Adrian Granat had already been knocked out. I think it was Alexander Dimitrenko, was it? Got 2 losses now. Yeah, it was Alexander Dimitrenko was the guy who knocked out Adrian Granat, right? But besides Adrian Granat, I'm finding trouble finding any names on here that I know of. And I know quite a few heavyweights, man. Well, Rafael Zambano, everyone knows him. But look at the state of his record. 39-13. I thought it was worse than that, actually. But Dominic Breazeale, if you remember, his best win to date, I think, is Usyk Ugano. I think Usyk Ugano is better than Eric Molina. Eric Molina, man, he's just been lucky to get a few fights at the top level. I don't know, maybe Carlos Negron might be better than Usyk. Was definitely better than him now, but at the time Usyk was pretty good. But we go down here, this fight here, I believe this is the last southpaw that Dominic Breazeale fought. And you know what? He got put on his ass in that fight. Mansour retired in that fight because he'd bitten through an artery in his tongue and couldn't breathe. He was choking on blood. But what most people don't give Breazeale for credit for in that fight was it was Breazeale who made Mansour bite through his tongue, didn't it? So he was the one who injured him, even though he got put on his ass. But I think this is a more interesting fight than people think. You know, Otto Wallin gets a lot of credit for going the distance with Tyson Fury and cutting him bad, right? But besides that, he ain't got a lot on his record. Travis Kaufman, Travis Kaufman's a tough character. Can give a little bit of trouble, but he ain't beat nobody. There's a reason he ain't beat nobody. He actually, I think it was him. He fought Amir Mansour in a very competitive fight, so it gives you an idea of the level. Amir Mansour's another guy who always comes to fight, but was never really that great. It's Adrian Granat fight. Went the distance. Oh, yeah, it did. 12 round unanimous decision. I remember watching that fight. Now, I think there's still a lot to learn about Otto Wallin. I don't think he has a huge punch. He couldn't knock out Adrian Granat, who doesn't have the best of chins. He didn't really hurt Tyson very much. Sure, he went the distance with Tyson, but in my opinion, I think Dominic Breazeale actually hits quite a bit harder than Tyson Fury. I mean, Tyson is a heavyweight. He's a big man and he can punch, right? As he proved against Deontay Wilder. But if he hadn't have got Deontay out of there when he did, he was starting to slow down because he was pouring on so much pressure. He was gassing. We saw when he fought Wallin, he was gassing. So I don't know, man. I've got a sneaking suspicion Dominic Breazeale's going to take a lot of shots, be losing the fight up until about 5 or 6 rounds, and then Wallin's going to be, holy shit, I've hit this guy with everything and I can't get him out of there. Now what do I do? And Breazeale's going to keep coming. He's going to keep attacking that body. He's not got much of a jab. He'll keep blocking punches with his face. But if he can still take the power, which I don't think Wallin has, I think he can stop Wallin later on. Once again, that's just my opinion, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that's what's going to happen. We'll see what kind of shape Breazeale comes into the fight. If he comes into the fight in pretty decent shape, Wallin could be in trouble, I think. Could be. I'm not saying will be, but could be. We shall see. Now, I am running out of stuff to talk about, and it doesn't seem like there's too many interested anymore. No one seems to want to join, so I'm probably going to close this down. There are those 2 cards on the weekend. Make sure you tune into that Top Rank one. It's got some really great fights on that card, with Joe Smith Jr. and Maxim Vlasov being the main event. Also got Richard Comey on the card. Oh, is that the other one? No, I think that's that one. Richard Comey and his name, can't remember, Gene Santos or something like that. Got a few good fights on there. Jojo Diaz is on there. No, that's the other card. Anyway, got the Showtime card and the Top Rank card with some great fights on them for this weekend. Tune into them. I hope you've enjoyed the stream, and I shall catch you next time. I'm Jono, and I'm out. Peace. And that is a wrap for today. Hope you all enjoyed today's session. If you have, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel so not to miss future content. If you'd like to get more involved with the channel, off air, and with the subscribers, you can head to the main channel page, and up on the right of the channel banner there is this Discord invite link. Once you click on that, it will take you to the Big Boys Boxing Discord server. Over here we have multiple platforms for chat. We have general chat, which is anything boxing. We have live fight links, where I drop links to fights within 24 hours of them screening. We have live fight replays. I drop the occasional replay here so you can come and watch them. We also have Fight Night Chat, which is for people who play Fight Night Champion. I play a bit of it. You can come and talk strategies, tips, whatever here. But the main thing here is this live panel voice channel. If you ever want to get involved on the live panel on YouTube, this is where it runs from. You come here, simply click on it, and you are in the live chat. And see the green rings come up when I speak. That means your mic is active. Down the bottom here, if you want to mute at any time, you can do so, like that. And if you want to get out at all, there's this hang up button right here. And that's all there is to it. So like I say, I'm Jono from Big Boys Boxing. I will catch you next time. Peace.